Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the World IA Cafe Speaker Series. Thank you for joining in today. This is something that I say every time. We have an excellent webinar, and all the webinars have been excellent, and I'm sure you will all immensely enjoy this. My name is Rupa Mishra. I'm an associate professor at Rutgers University. I manage and teach in the user experience design as well as the product design concentrations in the MBS program. I'm also an active member of World IA Association. The topic for today's webinar is how information architecture makes or breaks customer experience. Sounds fascinating. The speaker for this interactive event is Lisa Dance. Welcome to the World IA Cafe, Lisa.
Thank you.
Lisa is UX research consultant and founder at ServiceEase, where she helps businesses and nonprofit organizations create online and offline experiences that don't frustrate or harm people. Her services include UX audits, customer interviews, and usability testing. So let me share a LinkedIn profile link in the chat. In this webinar, Lisa will talk about how technical capabilities and information architecture are needed to help customers find what they need in self-service environments. Also, I would like you to know that we'll be recording all the speakers in this World IA Cafe series. The videos will be available on World IA's website. So let me put that. It's a great organization to network and meet people from all over the world. In fact, the last speaker was from Netherlands. So if you are interested, then please join the organization. Every year, we host the World IA Day, and this has been going on since 2012. Nihar is supposed to be here. I don't see her. Maybe she will join. The format of the Cafe Speaker Series is this: about 45-50 minutes will be the talk, followed by 10-15 minutes Q&A. And please don't hesitate to ask as many questions as you like. Also, I would like to remind you, this is an excellent opportunity to network and meet people. So if you like, you can share your LinkedIn profile link in the chat. I will put mine. And I will also share my department's website link if anyone is interested. Enjoy the webinar today, and now over to you, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Rupar. I really appreciate the wonderful introduction, and I'm really excited to get started. Let me share my screen, and let's see. Are we? Let's see. Okay, are you able to see it now?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, great. So you already did do the introduction of the topic, how information architecture makes or breaks customer experiences. So let's get started. As usual, I'll just do it. Just quick background, a little more than what you shared. So I've typically are doing user research that spans UX strategy to interactive prototyping and testing. And I work with small and mid-sized businesses, but I also have a background in working with enterprise organizations. And this year I did write a book called Today is the Perfect Day to Improve Customer Experiences. And that was quite a beast, but I'm finally glad it's out in the world. Um, it's in both paperback and ebook. Available on. I have links at the end of the presentation, but it's on Amazon and the other platforms as well. So let's get started. So it talked about a little bit in the description of this talk about digital transformations because, in the news, and it's been, over the last 10 or so years that are talking about digital transformations and organizations taking process that had been done manually by people and modifying them so they could use digital technology to um, actually have these operations done, to be used through digital technology, to be computerized, and so not only business processes on on the backside of businesses, but also customer facing processes, and then a lot of with digital transformation is about having services that are self-service, right? And so looking at this illustration to the right, here's someone, they're using their cell phone and they are checking a form or something, and it's sort of just showing all these processes that are on the back end with digital transformations to make it happen. So maybe this person was checking out doing a checking out a health form or submitting an application or something like that, and they just do it really quickly on their phone. And so self-service is wonderful in that it helps customers to manage their account and resolve issues without needing to contact the company or have a customer service rep or someone do it for them. So that can bring, great value to the business and more efficiency, and they can improve customer experiences because things can happen quicker and they can be more efficient. And it's wonderful. And that's what people have been championing. But there is also a bit of you know, a dark side of it, which is that customers often struggle to find what they need when they are in this talk. I'm really talking more about information architecture of website and apps, but information architecture is everywhere. But they often struggle to find what they need when they're doing things self-service, because customer journeys have gotten more complex, right? It's not just a simple, I'm buying this from one company and they are sending it to me. It's buying it from this company who they've gotten the item and they're partnering with somebody else. And then there may be a third party shipper, and then there may be some other kind of something else, or a rebate or something that has to be involved before the customer actually, can actually get this thing. So these are really complex customer journeys. Companies are larger, they have multiple products and multiple services. They oftentimes integrate multiple platforms together. Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't work together, right? Sometimes it's seamless and sometimes it's not. Another way that customers will struggle in finding the information that they need or completing a task or something is that they their companies have competing sales and marketing priorities. So, customer might be looking for information and trying to complete this task, but they get a whole lot of sales information and new products. And have you thought about this? And you can upgrade and all these upselling. And so, all of those things can get in the way of customers actually finding the information that they need. And so, that's what the illustration on the right kind of symbolizes. This illustration, call it unpaid customer labor, where the customer is spending like all this time and money and stress just trying to navigate to get what they need, right, within it. So that can be a struggle in that, okay, we have these digital transformations and things, self service, but there are challenges with it and challenges finding the information. And that's when you say, well, how does information architecture fit? And I really like this illustration on the side because it's actually showing like somebody actually architecting, actually creating and deciding where things should go. And so sometimes people don't think about that, and like you don't hear information architecture talked about a lot, but there's actually should be someone actually organizing the information so people are able to find it easy and complete their goals with self-service. So let's think about all these information sources and ways in which customers are interacting with self-service tools now. They're frequently asked questions, and it can be sort of that static one or ones that are interactive where if you click this and then does that answer your question, and then they give you something, some other options with it. So there are things like that. There are online knowledge bases, which these companies that are have multiple products and services. I mean, those knowledge bases can be very deep, right? And it's really hard to navigate and find the piece that you in particular need. Then there are customer forums where we're doing a lot of things self-service, and you need to be able to um, find answers, and sometimes support through the company is not readily available, and so you turn to customer forums. But how do you find the answer to the question that you have? Then there's all kinds of account management um, uh, tools where you're, setting up your profile, you're completing some of your profile, you're changing your password, you're setting your preferences, all kinds of things like that related to the account. But then it also can be account management, uh, re- step back, related to the the account online. But then there can be account management where, say, you have a credit card or some other kind of account, and you may want to change things within that itself, like um, try to get a different credit limit, or put someone on your credit as a secondary authorized user or something like that. Those types of things. And then there are customer portals, which your health insurance companies and things like that. They always call it portals when it comes time for open enrollment, and you have to choose your insurance options and things like that. And that's you trying to work your way through really complicated information and trying to get the answers you need and make good decisions. And so that's where, information architecture comes into play, because it's all this information from a lot of different places that one has to be organized. And then also, if you're doing tasks, you also need to find um, the information to be able to complete the task successfully. And so when you're thinking about information architecture, I, rely on, the the old standard book information architecture for the web and beyond, and it sort of talks about four components of information architecture, and there are other components as well, but these systems that sort of under align how your information is structured. So those are the organizational systems. So how we categorize information, and that's based on doing research so you understand users' needs and their behaviors, and also that you actually are categorizing the information correctly. And then there's navigation system, and so that's how when we're thinking online, how do we move from place to place and move through information. And then there's a labeling system. So how do we represent the information? Is it by a label that's a written word, or is it by icon or something like that? And then how do we search for information? It's a vast, supply of information on websites and apps, but how do we find the information that we need through using some kind of search feature? So those are the sort of the four components. And then this piece of my talk, I'm going to go through three different situations where information architecture could make or break the customer's experience. So first up, and these are based on true stories. Uh, this is Square. It's a payment processing platform. And so the customer is a small business owner who needs to complete a task quickly. Small business person working within their business, they hardly have enough time to do anything. Um, so they need to do this really quickly. And so they're working on a project, and they need to change the donation link that they had previously set up. And it's like a new year, and they're working on this project again, and they need to change some information on the donation link that's their Square on their Square in their Square account. And so they're using the desktop website through their laptop. And so when thinking about Square, it's an online payment processing platform, but it has multiple online products. It's not only payment processing, it also has a website builder and website hosting because they bought I can't think of I think it's was it we believe that they bought several years ago and incorporated that in there. They also have a banking subsidiary. So they have all of these, multiple products interconnected on this, platform, right? So you can see that that could be potential to be you know, uh, a lot of information and could be overwhelming. And so in this example, I want you to look out for the issues of, you know, issues with the organization system, the navigation, and the labeling. So again, the goal is to change the donation link. So the customer logs into their account and it comes up to their dashboard. And the dashboard has a long navigation menu on the left side of it. Uh, at the um, at the top of it, they have all of their products, and it's here right here on the left side. And the customer thought that the donation link that they had originally set up, what it was, they created it as an item, right? That's the label um, that Square uses. So they thought that they had created it as an item. So they went to items in order. And then once they clicked items in order, they had the choice of choosing between items in order. They chose items, and then it came up with this long listing of channel listings and service library and image library and modifiers and categories and discounts and options and units and custom attributes and then settings. And the customer is like, that doesn't sound like the donation link. And I don't know what half of these things are, right? So the labeling really isn't connecting with them, at least in their type of business. And so it says, okay, not here. So they make another attempt. So I said, well, the donation link is online because it's on my website. So maybe it's through the sales channel. So again, that's that same menu. And sales channel is under items in order. So they click that. And then they get an option that says online and then online sales channels. What's the difference? Again, labeling it, that's not very clear within it. And so it goes to online sales channels. Now, I don't have the next piece of it, but the online sales channels did not show them where the donation link was. So again, they didn't know where to go. Um, and in fact, when they clicked the online sales channel, that went under, if you look at the top, it went under account and settings. Very confusing, right? Because this now we're talking about personal information, business information, fulfillment, hardware information requests, get free processing, and online sales channels. It's still not clear where could this donation link be. Okay, third attempt. Okay, now not only on that left side of the dashboard was that original menu that had that they had clicked that had excuse me the items, order and items, and the sales channel. There's also another menu that had was called a quick access menu that was on the left side. So they said, well, if this first menu didn't work and none of those options seemed to make sense, let me try this quick access menu. Quick access sounds like it would be speedy, right? It'll help me. So they said, well, I did it online. And although I saw online on that other menu, I actually clicked the one that said online sales channel. So let me try and click online here. So they click online and then they get to another navigation menu. Well, that's still a long list of things: website items, orders, fulfillment, reports, marketing, communications, sales channels again, apps, and settings. Hmm, that's kind of confusing. And then what was also confusing was that when this person clicked on the online uh, menu, when they clicked on and got the second menu, they also got an option that showed the the same some of the same options that they had originally seen over on the side menus were now they're now options, but they are using icons for them. So that was confusing because then they were displayed first using uh, words as a label, and now they are being represented by icons. So again, they weren't they didn't see exactly where the donation link was. So they I talked about this a little bit, that the labeling was just really unclear because not only did they have the online, they also had a virtual terminal. And while they didn't think that was exactly the same thing, it still wasn't clear enough for them to figure out what that was. So they finally said, well, let's just do away with trying to use the navigation in the different menus. Let's go to search. So when they went to search, they started putting in donations and it started to populate some of the questions. So they saw on the first answer that set up donation goals using Square payment links. Well, that gave them enough of a scent of information that, okay, well, maybe it must be under payment links. So that's when they went back to the first menu that they had originally started with, where they had clicked orders and items and orders, sales channel, and then here payments. So they clicked payments and then payment links, and then that took them to the donation link. And they were finally able to change the donation link within it. So that was, both issues with how the information was categorized and understanding uh, user behavior because of the fact that Square is a platform that's used by very small businesses to rather large businesses, and they their initial approach is to show the customer everything. And while a customer can customize their dashboard and customize some of the things that they are able to see, they actually have to know and be able to identify what they need, and it's very hard with the labeling that they have. So that's very problematic. And when they're offering so many different services and so many different products all at the same time on the dashboard, it's so much different pathways to go and to get lost within it. So despite all of the menus, uh, they had to actually use the search feature to just get a sense of information to actually find what they needed. So that's story about Square. So next up is a real life story about Comcast, and uh, in this story, the customer was trying to help their mother use the apps on on their television, and they were trying to get the remote control to open one particular app, and they couldn't get it to open. It was actually the app for their Samsung TV, and so they couldn't figure out how to open it. They could open um, Hulu and some of the other ones, but they couldn't open this one. So they got their cell phone out and they went to the Comcast website. And so that's the channel that they use. Now, let's keep in mind that, Comcast, global business, again, like Square, they have multiple products um, from, from cable to entertainment to different things like that to mobile services with it. And so as we look through the experience that this customer had trying to get help to get the remote to work for that particular app, they encountered issues with the organization of the information, the navigation, and the labeling. And so here on the right is uh, the homepage that they uh, came to when they uh, typed in Comcast. It actually pulls up Xfinity.com, but that's this is the homepage that they initially initially went to. So their first attempt, before they even logged in, they thought, well, maybe they see on the right, I mean, excuse me, on the left, this hamburger menu. And so they said, well, I'm going to open this up because maybe they'll have a special section for support. And thinking the word will be support uh, here. And then maybe I might, and will still have to log in, but maybe that'll take me directly to support. So they opened up, they clicked the hamburger menu and opened it up. And so this uh, categorizes like their sort of different um, services that they offer, internet, mobile, uh, TV and streaming, home security, your home phone, things like that. But nothing said anything about support. But since this was TV, they clicked TV and streaming. Um, and then that came up with another menu under the bottom that, you know, kind of told them information about their television service, like how that they could use it. So the overview and different other television options, but it didn't really indicate that they were going to find information on support. So they said, well, maybe I'll stop here and I'll log in, and maybe then I can get more specific information. So they do log in and they get to right here to the left. This is the home page inside of their account. Um, and they get there it's the hamburger menu. So they said, well, let me try that and see, like, once I get in my account, is that going to give me a little bit different information? So it is a little bit different. They do have those sort of same categories of services, uh, but it's separated out. But again, nothing that said support. But it said your services, as they started sort of categorizing the particular ones that this customer had. So they decided, well, I'm gonna try the TV and streaming since this is they seem to be using the same categories and I haven't seen support yet. So they click on TV and streaming and it takes them to, well, you can't see this here, but it shows like some different shows that are on now that can be streaming. So they start to scroll down to see if they see anything about support. They scroll, I'm sorry, hit the mouse. They scroll actually down 7 screens till they finally got to something where it said support. And it had the was something that indicated that they would get some help. Um, they said didn't find what you were looking for, asked the Xfinity assistant. And so, okay, they're saying, oh, this is a chat bot. I don't think that that's really going to help me at this point because it's not that I don't think a chatbot is going to be able to answer as specific of a question as I need because it's not as if the remote is not working at all. It's not working on one specific um, app and it's working on the other ones. So it said, I'm not going to go down the path with the chatbot right now. Let me see um, if I can find something, I can find it another way. So that's when they went back and they're on that home page the um, inside of the website again. It's inside their account, and they said, "Well, let me scroll down that page itself," because at first they had clicked the hamburger menu to see if they could kind of cut through all of that and find a support option. So they scroll down the home screen and 4 screens, and it says questions or support. Browse Xfinity support. So again, they said this is going to take me to the bot, and that wasn't really helpful to them. But they then decided, let me try something else. And let me go back 1 second to show here where the icon is usually like your your account profile and sort of like where you manage things in your account. Uh, they said, well, let me look there. Didn't really have a reason why, but let me check. So when they looked there and opened up their account, then it was billing, account, and identity, Comcast Business, which they don't have, and then support. Oh, wow. So support was under their account. So with their mental model, they didn't think a that support would be under their profile because like support is typically things that they can control. Um, excuse me, step back. Th- their profile is typically things that they can control, like their password, their address, and different things like that. That's their mental model from other sites. It's not typically that they would go under their their profile to be able to get support. Um, and so that was really surprising to them. So they went and they clicked support. And so it did lay out the different services they had: internet, TV, um, telephone. well, actually, not all that they had because they didn't have the home security at the end, the bottom one. But they had the different services that they offered. Now, again, if you think back to the other screens, um, they had those items categorized with those same labels, but they were just the words, and now they have actually, pictures to go with them. So they click television. It opens up to television. It it has a couple of options to like refresh their system or to pair the remote control. But again, that's still not what their issue is. So they scroll down from this third uh, screen right here. At the bottom, it has this listing and it said this gets started in troubleshooting. And so they said, and it had equipment. So they said, okay, well, I'm going to try troubleshooting because I have an issue, trouble. Okay, well, that gives them two other options, X1 help and TV help. So they're not really sure what X1 help is, and but they have 4 articles, and then they have TV help, which is 7 articles. So they go and they click the X1 help, and then they start as they start looking down the articles. It comes to them, well, okay, X1, I think that's what the remote control, the Comcast remote control is called. Okay, that's still not their particular issue because none of that is actually talking about not being able to open one particular app or anything sort of near it. They're talking about rebooting and different things. And the customer had done these things, rebooted, had cut off their, cut off their router and cut it back on and their modem and had done several things. So didn't think that would help. So after seeing, okay, none of these under X1 help was actually helpful for their situation, they came back and they clicked TV help and then they got 7 articles, but again, none of them actually were related to the situation that they had. So finally, they clicked again uh, at the bottom and it said you could you could use the Xfinity Assistant to get help, but they had already tried to use that, and it provided options, similar to the options that they were seeing on the different menus, but none of them were very helpful, and so that became a challenge. And so challenge that they weren't going to be able to find information. They just waste time again. And so they finally gave up and called Comcast to get some help. And so this is a story of when they said their website would be easier. And so you have customers going through, the website, the chat bot, and then the phone. And when they're on the phone is telling them the website would be easier. But, if the information architecture is not great, then that's a problem. And so next up, we're running a little short on time, so I will go through this story quickly, and it's a little bit different. This is actually um, a project that I worked on, and this platform is being built now. And I was doing a user experience audit on the platform. And so this is a printing platform where the customers can come on there, they can see different artwork, um, find one that they like, and have it printed on different items. It also has a part where artists can submit their artwork for review, and if it's approved, it can be put on the site, and then other customers can have that artwork printed on their items, and the artist would get paid for it. So I was this platform is still being developed, and I'm doing the UX audit on it. It doesn't have actual artwork in there now. It has placeholder images. They have some categories for the artwork, but most of it's placeholder images. And so the key questions when you think about it was, can customers find the artwork that they want? And how will they be able to discover new artwork, right? Because they don't necessarily, it's a new platform, they don't necessarily know what you have within it. And so, in going through the UX audit, I found issues with the organization, the labeling, and the search function. And this is what it was. So, although they had categories for the artwork, uh, when you tried to use the search feature, of course, because it was still in development, it couldn't be, used in it couldn't be used to the extent as it would be fully developed. And so I asked the development team, I said, well, how is the search feature being built? And it was currently being built so it could only search by the title of the artwork. Well, that was going to be really problematic because one, this is a new platform, but they also were working with emerging artists, and so it's not like they would be searching for the Mona Lisa or the Scream or or something like that. They probably would not even know what the name of the artwork was. So customers would probably be looking to maybe search by different things. So maybe be the style of the artwork or the subject or different things like that. Or if they knew the artist was on that platform, maybe the artist's name. But as it is, when this uh, artist submitted their artwork, how was it going to be categorized and how would it be tagged so it could be searched? Well, as I was talking with the owner of the platform, it hadn't really been determined like who was going to tag it. And so that was a question what I was talking about with them far as sort of like on a service design aspect is when you're designing this service and how is it going to work on the back end and the front end, are you going to be tagging it or is the artist going to be signing tags to their art when they submit it within it? And so that's something that they're working on now to figure out. And so my recommended next steps for them were were that we could do a competitive analysis to see what other platforms, similar platforms, how they have um, items, the search features and categories within it to give you some ideas. But then also doing, I call it a hybrid interview and testing so that with potential customers to want to understand how they search for things now because you want to know from your particular customers, but then also having them do a little testing on uh, the um, the site as it is to kind of see what other issues may occur within it. So that's kind of like example of something being built, and if information architecture has not really been fully thought out, then it could, make or break a experience because if customers weren't able to easily find a particular type of artwork that they wanted, then they would, maybe leave. And so that definitely would impact sales and the success of the platform going forward. So those are the three stories, and I will kind of sort of sum it up with when you're thinking about improving information architecture for customer experiences, you know, one, you're thinking about customer interviews and observations to see how they are searching for things or what their goals are and their mental models for things. Um, then you're also looking at card sorting and tree testing to be able to, effectively, put out these buckets of information and getting them to either organize them in a card sort or in a tree test, having them show the path of how they would search for something to help you see if what you have proposed can work. Definitely in usability testing, just in far as task-based usability testing where they're trying to make a purchase or something like that, then you can see in action what issues are with the information architecture. Competitive analysis, that gives you some ideas of what things may or may not be working in the in the marketplace. Then also looking at you have a actual site that's up and has customers coming. Um, you're looking at the metrics and the search logs and search data to start to see, to identify what can be potential issues with it, because if you see people going to certain pages and not and then um, jumping off and going back down to other pages, then that can be potentially indicating it might be an issue, as well as search data when you see certain things that are being searched for repetitively. And then keeping your keeping strong feedback loops. So if you have a business that that larger organizations that have customer service departments and sales teams and different things like that, what's the feedback that they're getting on particular issues? What are people saying on your views of your site or your app reviews, um, or any kind of um, feedback forms or things that you are receiving? Uh, you definitely get, yeah, especially like you're looking at app reviews. I was looking at one for an app recently that I was going to work on, and the span of, oh, it's horrible to, oh, it's pretty great, you definitely get that, but there are patterns within that middle that, like, even for me, I could identify. There seemed like there were certain patterns that when I talked with the stakeholder at the company, I was like, I could see that in the patterns within the reviews. So keeping all those feedback loops open, and so that you can hear information and actually iterate to improve the information architecture for a website and app. Those are, best practices to ensure the best customer experience, especially when it's, when we're having larger, more complex customer journeys and, bigger organizations with multiple products. You really have to uh, think about um, the excuse me, the information architecture, and to keep the feedback loops open so that you're hearing when there are different issues, especially as you add more products and change the navigation and different things within the site. So, questions, and this is my contact information.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa, for this wonderful, wonderful talk. I loved the three case studies, and my favorite was the Comcast chatbot. I ran into this chatbot so many times. So you basically go in circles and you end up with this chatbot. So very
Absolutely.
interesting. And thank you everyone for joining in. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.